Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Uber's TV. A nice crowd filing into Progressive Field here this afternoon. A partly cloudy sky, but nothing but sunshine coming for the Ranger dugout as they get set to wrap up this series and this road trip, taking on the Cleveland Indians. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Wednesday matinee of Ranger baseball, and it's finalizing a road trip that has been nothing short of spectacular. Tom, I couldn't imagine this ball club playing any better than they are right now.
I agree, Buzz. And, generally when you win 7 out of 8, the numbers support it. But when you look at the overall performance of the team during this road trip, I think the thing that stands out is it's been a 25-man effort. From top to bottom, everybody has contributed. They've played consistently well in all 3 cities. They've obviously pounded the baseball, scoring 6.5 runs a game. Home runs have been a huge part of it, extra base hits as well. And from a pitching side of it, I think the glue for this road trip has been the bullpen. The bullpen, and Sean Tollison has saved 5 games, but the whole bullpen has contributed from top to bottom, and that's the reason it's been such a good trip.
Well, they look to finish it off on another high note. Colby Lewis will go out to the mound trying to win his 4th consecutive outing as the Rangers trying to come home 8-1 on this road trip. We'll be back with more from Progressive Field right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The Ford Memorial Day EcoBoost sales event. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. By AT&T Uber's TV. Uber's has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. There's some high puffy clouds floating by Overhead, the Rangers and Indians getting set to wrap up this three-game series. Before we get underway, let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones. Em?
Well, Buzz, a lot easier for the Rangers to come to the ballpark these days. Winners of 7 straight, looking to make it 8 in a row today. And Colby Lewis admits when the offense is scoring at this clip, it makes it all the more fun.
We answered, they answered, we're answering right back. I don't think that, I think earlier in the year, guys were kind of getting panicked and put a little bit more extra pressure on themselves. Right now, I think every guy's going like, whatever, they scored 2, we're going to score 4, So makes a good recipe to go out there and win a lot of ball games.
The confidence definitely building with this 7-game winning streak in all aspects of the game. Starting pitching, bullpen, defense, offense. The Rangers getting it done in all phases. And when one comes up short, others are there to pick it up. They'll look to make it 8 in a row this afternoon as they close out this 3-game set against the Cleveland Indians. We'll have the first pitch from Progressive Field when we return here on Fox Sports Southwest.
Indians getting set to match up in the finale of this 3-game series. The Rangers 7 straight wins on the road. They are 7-1, having lost the opener in Boston last week. Reading off 7 straight, they're now 17-10 away from Arlington this year. And the Rangers, for the first time since the first week of the season, back at the 500 mark. They are 23-23, and they are tied with the Los Angeles Angels for second place in the AL West, 6.5 behind the Astros. So everything trending upward for the Rangers, and certainly they'll try and keep this going here this afternoon. The fans getting set, taking whatever preparations they have to prevent any sunburn, and they can enjoy baseball. And Tom will tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup.
For the Rangers, they'll start with Delino DeShields in center field this afternoon. Shin-Soo Choo will bat second, followed by the DH Prince Fielder. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup hitter at third base. Josh Hamilton in left field will bat fifth. Mitch Moreland, coming off a game-winning home run last night, will bat sixth at first base. Elvis Andrus has been hot. He'll bat seventh. The catcher is Robinson Chirinos, and batting ninth is the second baseman Tommy Field.
And that batting order put together by Jeff Bannister, facing this guy, the right-hander Carlos Carrasco, 28-year-old from Venezuela. Rangers treated him pretty rudely last time out. Another power strikeout pitcher for the Cleveland Indians. They've got a bunch of them. But the Rangers made him throw strikes last time. They touched him for 5 runs on 7 hits. And despite having a complete game for Carrasco, he suffered the loss in that Ranger victory. So the Rangers will try and duplicate that here this afternoon as they look to make it 3 consecutive series wins on this trip. And let's take a look at the Indian defense this afternoon behind Carlos Carrasco. Michael Brantley in left, Michael Bourne in center, David Murphy to start in right field today. Carlos Santana at first, Jason Kipnis and Mike Aviles up the middle. Lonnie Chisenhall at third, and Roberto Perez is catching. Now the Indians, you remember when the Rangers came into Progressive Field, were on a 6-game winning streak. Rangers have taken the first 2 against them, and Terry Francona's club now 20-25, and they are 4th in the American League Central, trailing the Kansas City Royals by 8 ball games. 9-14 the home record for the Cleveland Indians. Now Carlos Carrasco getting set to take on the Rangers the second time in the last 2 weeks. The big right-hander has faced Texas. Back in that leadoff spot, Delino DeShields after sitting out yesterday. Delino steps in at .278 average. No home runs and 10 driven in. First pitch of the afternoon is chopped foul. We are underway at about 11 minutes after 12 Eastern time. Delino DeShields with that on-base percentage right up there at an even .400. 1 for 4 for DeShields against Carrasco down in Arlington 10 days ago. 0-1 pitch coming. 1 ball and 1 strike. Carrasco not only throws hard, but his fastball darts all over the place. Most of the time it's a heavy sinking fastball, but it's a very live one and in the mid-90s most of the time. Pretty good breaking ball that just missed inside. It's 2-1. Carrasco in and out of the starting rotation for the Cleveland Indians the last couple of years. They've been trying to figure him out. He's been trying to figure things out at the big league level.
Yeah, they had him in the bullpen for quite a while, off and on. That's a pretty good arm, though, and I think they've got him in the right spot right now.
They went back into the rotation the last half of last year and really did a very good job, a solid job in August and September for the Tribe. 77 degrees on a rather muggy afternoon. Breeze drifting out towards center field. Chopper over the mound. Kipnis on the run, throws, and just does get DeShields by a half step. Well, Delino, he can make even that play look exciting. Kipnis get rid of the ball quickly, and 1 up, 1 away. Next will be Shin-Soo Choo.
The Indians have a rotation that can definitely strike you out. The Rangers in back-to-back series faced the same 3 starters. They missed Trevor Bauer, strikeout per inning guy. Corey Kluber, more than a strikeout per inning. There's the numbers. Danny Salazar, the most strikeouts per 9 innings of anybody. Carrasco, well over a strikeout per inning. Pretty impressive. The top 3 are all Indian starters. And their 5th starter is Sean Markham, who on any given day with his changeup can probably strike out a batter per inning as well. In fact, he struck out 16 in 14 innings.
No balls and a strike. Shin-Soo Choo up there, a .233 hitter. Off speed, and that drifts outside. A ball and a strike. Choo with 7 home runs. That is second on the ball club to Prince Fielder's 10. 23 runs driven in. Up the middle, but that is right where Aviles, the shortstop, is positioned. 2 gone. And when Carrasco's pitching well, you will see a lot of ground balls from him when the opposition is able to put the ball in play. Combination, a lot of strikeouts and a lot of ground balls, and you won't see the outfield getting much work. 2 away, and here's Prince Fielder. And Fielder's given the outfield a lot of work on this road trip. Matter of fact, the entire season.
He's giving the fans in the outfield a lot of work.
Spreading souvenirs to the paying customers out there in the bleachers. Takes a strike on the inside corner. Fielder, major league leading, 371 average. 10 home runs, 38 RBI. The 38 RBI leading the American League. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fielder putting up video game numbers on this road trip. Well, and for most of the season, to be quite honest. He's had a great year, but his run production on this road trip has gone completely crazy. A little bit outside, 2-1. The American League rankings for Prince Fielder: first in batting average, first in RBI, first in multi-hit games, second in on-base percentage, and second with runners in scoring position. Outside, 3 balls and a strike. Well, Carrasco falling behind, and dealing with Fielder is not an easy chore by any means, but dealing with a guy behind him is just as tough. Adrian Beltre will follow. Got it on the outside corner. The count is full. Fielder with a 5-game hitting streak. He's gone 14 for 24 in those 5 games with 15 runs driven in. Now the payoff pitch. Call, strike 3. Got the low outside corner. Carrasco gets the strikeout. Rangers are gone in order. We played a half inning in Cleveland. It's the Rangers nothing, the Indians coming up. Rangers don't score in the first. Now here's Tom to tell you about the Amica Cleveland Indians lineup.
For the Indians, their usual lineup, starting with second baseman Jason Kipnis, followed by the first baseman Carlos Santana. Michael Brantley in left field bats third. David Murphy will be the cleanup hitter today. He's playing right field. Nick Swisher is fifth, the DH. Lonnie Chisenhall gets the start at third base. Mike Aviles will play shortstop and bat seventh. Michael Bourne is in center field, and the catcher batting ninth is Roberto Perez.
And that lineup will face Colby Lewis, our progressive scouting report on the 35-year-old right-hander. 4-2 with an ERA just below 3.5. Been getting good run support by his Ranger teammates. He'd like to see that continue here this afternoon. Command hasn't been as sharp in his last 2 outings, but I would expect him to use probably the changeup a little more with all the left-handers in the lineup for the Cleveland Indians. Get that changeup going in play and get that back foot breaking ball down to the left-handers. Jason Kipnis leading things off. 1-1 pitch is high. Kipnis a .335 average. 5 home runs, 22 driven in. Led off last night's ball game with a home run against Wandy Rodriguez. And that pitch off speed and low and inside. 3-1 to Kipnis. So Kipnis leading off against Colby Lewis. Carlos Santana will follow. That's out of play down the left side. And the count has run full. Well, Colby, as we mentioned, has won his last 3 ball games. He's trying to make it a 4-game streak. Then his best is 6 consecutive games. Set that over the course of 2 seasons back at the end of 2011, the start of 2012. Hit pretty well to left. Going back is Hamilton in the corner and makes the catch and pounds into the padding.
Wow, he hit that flush. You know, one thing that happens to an outfielder is you go toward the foul line. You start out where it's probably 10 feet deeper, and as you go straight across, it gets shallower. So right now, the fence is maybe 335, and then all of a sudden, it's 325, and you're concentrating on the ball. It's not as deep as where you were when you were more towards center field, and that's what can happen. But fortunately, Josh had great concentration. Ball went in his glove, and he withstood the pounding of the wall. He hit that ball pretty hard.
Boy, he did. And stretched out, too, kind of at the mercy of the wall, whatever was going to inflict on him, and inflicted.
You know, if where he started out, 20 feet from the foul line was the same distance as the foul line, he wouldn't have had that problem.
Yeah. Carlos Santana lofts a pop foul back into the seats. It is 0-1.
When you're going sideways on the warning track, it doesn't provide the same benefit as when you're going straight back. All you feel is the dirt all the time you're running, but you really don't get a sense of where the wall is.
Santana, a check swing on that pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You can see the foul line and how much shallower it is than where the Pepsi sign is out there, and that's where he started. And as he went straight across, the wall just shortened up on him and smashed right into it.
Need to fit outfielders with those proximity beepers. When you get close to some beeps. A hot shot out to Tommy Field, who knocks it down. Recovers and throws. That's out number 2. Like one of those backup cameras and sensors.
Yeah, I don't know if we had time for it to register on a play like that, but it might help.
Take a look at the Ranger defense delivered to you by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Hamilton, DeShields, and Chu left, center, and right. Moreland at first. You saw Tommy Field at second. Elvis at short. Adrian Beltre at third. Robinson Chirinos is catching here this afternoon. 2 gone. And Michael Brantley steps in. Brantley, a .304 average with 4 home runs. Takes a knee-high strike. It is 0-1. Brantley has driven in 27. Not even going to say the Rangers have kept him bottled up in this series. I just kind of let that go by. Well, too late now.
Well, they bottled him up last night when they had to. Bases loaded and 1 out in the middle of the game, and then 2 men on with 2 outs in the last inning in a 1-run game. Yep. So if he has a good game today, that's the way it goes. But boy, they got him out yesterday when they had to.
That's right. They paved the way for that victory by the Rangers, a 4-3 win.
Breaking ball that stays up for him. Nice smooth swing.
So Brantley, a 2-out single, is aboard. Now David Murphy. Murph on fire of late. He has been better than a .400 hitter for the last couple of weeks. Pitch outside to him. David at .326 overall. 3 home runs, 10 driven in. He is getting almost all of his at-bats against right-handed pitching. 0 for 2 in his career against his former teammate Colby Lewis. Looked like that changeup.
Huh? David could have finished his swing and swung again before that ball got there.
1-1. And Murphy skies one to shallow left field. Coming on, Josh Hamilton, and that will do it. So nice play by Hamilton to start the inning. And Colby strands the base runner Brantley after the single. On to the second. No score in Cleveland. to the Rangers. The team is offering 2 tickets to the May 28th game against the Boston Red Sox. That's tomorrow for just $32. This offer is good for seats up to the lower reserve section. You can visit TexasRangers.com and use the online coupon code Hamilton to join in and welcome Josh back to Texas. Hamilton will hit second in the inning, and leading off right now, Adrian Beltre, who takes ball 1. Going to inspect the baseball. Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson didn't like what he saw, so he takes a look at the ball and gives it back to Carrasco. Beltre at .262 with 6 home runs and 16 driven in. He shoots one down the right field line. It's slicing into the corner. It's a fair ball. Murphy plays the carom. Beltre steaming into second, and he is in with a leadoff double. Well, Adrian Beltre driving about 322 feet right down the right field line for the 2-bagger.
It's a pretty good pitch. Down toward the outside part of the plate. One thing you know about Adrian, he's going to use the whole field from foul line to foul line. Good start to the inning for the Rangers. Trying to get on the board first.
Well, the first Ranger base runner, Adrian Beltre, puts himself into scoring position and brings up Josh Hamilton. Hamilton looking for his first hit in a Ranger uniform this time. Drives one to left. Brantley is going back. He reaches up and makes the catch. Adrian Beltre at second didn't really realize that ball was going to travel that far, so he was maybe a third of the way toward third and had to go back and tag up. By the end, it was too late.
We saw a ball that Prince hit last night carry a long way all the way to the wall in left field. Josh hit that ball pretty well. Obviously not as well as he can hit one, but almost well enough to get it over the left fielder's head. So his last 3 at-bats have been pretty good. 3 balls hit solidly, 2 to left field. 1 smash last night to first base that was hit about as hard as he could hit a ball.
Speaking of smashes, how about the guy at the plate now? He smashed one last night. His 5th home run of the year, and it was the game winner. It's Moreland mashing one out of here against Nick Hagedorn. At the knees for strike 1. Moreland at .306 for the year. 5 home runs and 18 runs driven in. Moreland has found Carlos Carrasco to his liking. He's 3 for 6 against him with a home run. Trying to pick up Adrian Beltre, who's out at second with 1 out. 0-2. And we'll take a look at our AT&T Uverse rewind from last night. That was the game winner. That's something you don't see Mitch do very often, stand there and watch it just for a split second.
You got to be able to do that for a split second when you hit one like that.
I think so.
It's not like watching one that scrapes the outfield wall and lands in the front row. I think most players would say, you know, they don't want you to sit there and pose for 10 seconds and take 30 seconds to go around the bases, but you take 1 second to admire it. You should have the right to do that. I don't think Mitch abused the privilege.
No, I think you're right.
There have been guys that abused the privilege. My favorite was Guillermo Montañez. I played with him with the Mets. Willie Montañez, he could hit a home run and take a turn at first base that almost put him in the dugout.
That pitch gets away from Perez. Now down to third goes Beltre, and Adrian now just 90 feet away with the go-ahead run.
Well, Perez was in position to block it, but he didn't keep his glove down and went right between the legs. Infield's going to move in a little bit. Great chance for Mitch to put the Rangers on the board right here.
A ball and 2 strikes. And has scored a wild pitch. Charge to Carrasco. Moreland now just trying to get the ball, put it in play to the outfield and get the Rangers on the scoreboard. Carrasco ready. A check of Beltre. Chopper to second. That's not going to get it done. Kipnis able to check Beltre back. Moreland is thrown out. And there's another one of those ground balls with not great contact.
You mentioned that Carrasco, when he keeps the ball down and makes it sink, he's going to get a lot of ground balls, and it served him well with the infield in and a man on third base. You know, earlier we had talked about the three starters, Carrasco, Salazar, and Kluber, all being the top three in strikeouts per 9 innings. The other thing about them, Buzz, is they don't walk anybody. Those three guys together have averaged 11 strikeouts per 9 innings and only 1.9 walks per 9 innings. So less than 2 walks per 9 innings and 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's a pretty good ratio for 3 of your 5 starters.
That's amazing for having that many strikeouts,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Just incredible. Here's Elvis. He takes a belt-high strike. Yeah, most of the time you see, especially with the younger pitchers, you see a lot of strikeouts and usually a fair amount of walks.
Yep. Yeah,
None of those three guys are in that category.
No, I know. If you're around 3 walks per 9 innings, that's pretty good.
Right.
Less than 2 with those strikeouts and being young, really a pretty unusual combination.
You know, Elvis walking around a little bit after that called second strike. Last 5 ball games for Elvis, a .429 average. 9 for 21. 3-hit game here last night. The 0-2. Elvis, one of the guys that's hit fairly well against Carlos Carrasco, 4 for 10 with 3 runs driven in coming into play here this afternoon. And of course, Elvis in this ballpark is the next best thing to automatic. 27 consecutive games. Got him swinging here. Pretty good breaking ball, and Carrasco gets the strikeout, and that ends the Rangers' second. No runs a hit, 1 left. After 1.5, we are scoreless. Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and a lot more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Scoreless ball game. The Indians coming to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Nick Swisher, the designated hitter, leading off against Colby Lewis. And the first pitch inside for ball 1. Swisher, .231 the average, a home run and 5 driven in. Colby's next pitch, swing and a miss. You foul tip that. The 1-1. There's the changeup.
Boy, that ball just nosedived. pitch before it had good sinking action. He hit just barely on top of the ball. Watch this one go underneath his bat. As a hitter, you see it, you feel like you're right on it, but it's tough to contend with that late movement.
There's a drive to right field. Chu is going back. He stops. That ball is gone. Swisher got a pitch up and out over the plate. It's his second home run of the year. The Indians have a 1-0 lead.
Colby was ahead in the count. He swung and missed at a changeup, it looked like. And then he tried to sneak a high fastball by him. And Swisher, behind in the count, was ready for the fastball. Tried to throw it in, but got a little bit too much of the plate.
Yeah, this park, with weather conditions like this, plays fairly small in right center. Almost out to dead center. Breeze blowing out. Swisher got it right on top of the wide wall out there in front of the bleachers. So 1-0 Cleveland. And Lonnie Chisenhall checks his swing. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chisenhall a .203 average. 3 home runs, 16 driven in. He loops one into right field. Chu to the line, can't get there. He'll have to play it on a couple of hops. And Chisenhall aboard with a base hit in front of Mike Aviles. Colby got in on Chisenhall a significant amount, but Chisenhall able to muscle it into right field for the base hit. 1 on, still nobody out. Aviles stepping in, a .310 hitter. 1 for 4. Aviles against Colby Lewis. And Colby pours in strike 1. Aviles, as you saw, 3 home runs, a half dozen RBI. Beltre picks a tough hop to second. The return throw is wide and into the photographer's well. So down to second will go Aviles. Tommy Field almost able to turn that. And
that would have been a double play of all time if they turned that. It looked like one of those hops to third base that was just going to take a terrible hop. It did. Adrian made the play anyway. Throw back as the runner, Chisenhall, broke up the double play, sailed wide. You get 1 out, but batter moves to second base on the error.
The first error committed this afternoon by the Rangers. Tommy Field charged with the throwing error for Field. That is his 3rd error of the year. And Michael Bourne takes a strike. Rangers now, by the way, as far as team fielding, that's their 41st error. They are next to the last in the American League. Oakland with 50 errors prior to play today. Chirinos going to come up and fire to second. Aviles had a pretty good lead out there. A ball and a strike to Bourne. Poked out of play. 1-2 the count. Michael Bourne, that .235 average, 11 runs driven in. He is without a home run this year. The Indians as a team now have 42 home runs. Came in 10th in the American League as a team. Colby set. And Bourne loops one to center field, a base hit. Aviles around third will score. Bourne with the RBI single, and the Indians now lead it 2-0. Well, the error immediately comes back to play a big role in the second Indians run of this inning.
softly hit ball that found a hole. Chisenhall looped a little ball to right field for a hit. And Michael Bourne does the same thing in center field. Loops one over short for an RBI.
Now Roberto Perez. Perez, at least for the time being, catching on an every other day basis. He and Jan Gomes splitting the duties. Gomes just back from rehabbing a knee sprain. Gary Francona doesn't want him catching every day yet, so he's going to build up the strength. And right now it's an every other day proposition. 0-1 pitch from Colby. Pretty good breaking ball. 0-2. One of those pitches right at the bottom of the strike zone.
See more and more of them called now. Umpires definitely making an effort to consistently call that pitch a strike.
You remember, Tom, when it seems to me like it was about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a concerted effort in spring training to call more strikes. And then when they got into the season, it kind of went away.
Yeah, and I think it seems to me like at first they called the high strike, but not that pitch down there. It seems like that's a relatively recent development, maybe the last 2 or 3 years, where more and more you see that pitch called a strike. There's one that barely touches the outside corner. You know, occasionally you'd see an umpire that would call the low strike. I can remember earlier in the season, might have been Bill Miller had a game where he called that pitch a bunch of times,
right.
10 or 12 times, and we remarked that that's definitely a strike with this umpire, and he's consistently called it all day long. And since then, I think more and more we've seen examples of a lot of umpires calling that pitch a strike now. I think at the beginning you saw a lot of hitters complain about it, and as it goes on and it becomes more kind of an accepted part of the strike zone, the hitters are maybe begrudgingly accepting it. I don't think they'll ever like it, but I think they're getting used to it. Like that. There's another one right there. I don't remember, you know, you go back 4, 5, 6 to 10 years. I don't remember that being called a strike very much.
Yeah, we talk about the decrease in offensive output early in this season. Now, that's a big part of it. That pitch is getting called, and it's going to take hitters, 3, 4, 5 months to adjust to that.
Yeah, and they can adjust to it, meaning they're going to have to swing at it. But generally, it's a ball that's sinking, and there's not a lot you can do with it. It's going to result in a lot of ground balls, and it's not the kind of pitch you can drive and really pad your offensive stats. So I agree that if you add those inches to the strike zone, it's going to hurt offensive output to a degree.
A ball and a strike, the count to Kipnis. We'll snap through to first, but Bourne back. 2-1 now. Kipnis drove a ball to deep left field that Josh Hamilton made a nice running catch on and banged into the wall. That's how things got underway here this afternoon. 0 for 1 today, hitting at .333. There goes Bourne, and the pitch is chopped to the right side. Easy play for Tommy Field, on to first, and that'll do it. But the Indians strike for a pair on 3 hits and an error and leave one. After 2-0 Cleveland.
of the third and welcome you back to Progressive Field in Cleveland. This is the final stop on my ballpark food tour on this road trip. It is from the barrio. It is a chicken taco, soft shell tortilla, and a hard shell taco shell with grilled chicken inside, salsa verde, Ohio sweet corn, and something else. I can't quite remember.
Secret ingredient.
A secret ingredient that cannot be revealed. Turn away as I take a bite. Very good. Very fresh.
How's it compare to the pulled pork?
I'm gonna put it in the number 3 spot.
Okay.
Pulled pork still at the top. Lobster roll number 2. I'll go 3 with this. It's been a great run.
Wow, you are on a great run.
It has been a great run. Yes, the Sunday drops to 4th. It has been a great run. My stomach needs a break, I will say. It's a good thing we're headed home.
Yeah.
And I must say, no better value than the food that you get at Globe Life Park in Arlington. I'll tell you that much. You get some bang for your buck.
Well, now that's a great endorsement, because if anybody would know, it'd be you, Em,
Yes.
after all this.
Yes, absolutely.
You are-
I mean, $1 hot dog night? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Have you got a favorite item at our ballpark?
I don't know if they have it anymore. It was, the one that they named after Josh. Maybe they'll bring it back since he's coming back. But I'm a big fan of the Beltray Buster.
Cool.
I mean, everybody likes a good burger, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm going to talk to them about the Josh one. The Hambino, the Great Hambino, that's what it was called. I'm going to see if they'll bring that back since Josh is back.
Good chance.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, y'all leave me alone. I'm going to
All
finish
right,
eating.
finish your meal.
And inside, Robinson Chirinos draws the leadoff walk. So the Rangers coming right back here in the third inning now, trailing 2-0, and they get their leadoff man aboard. Tommy Field now will come up. That is the first walk issued by Carrasco this afternoon. Tommy Field struggling a little bit of late offensively. Batting average at .211, a couple of home runs, 5 driven in. Tommy hitless in his last 8 times to the plate. He takes high for ball 1. Perez going to go out and talk to Carrasco a bit. Remind him that he just was given a 2-run lead with which to work. You don't want to be walking people. Tommy Field, along with the 0 for 8, is just 2 for his last 14. Got off to a very nice start. Hit a home run in his first game in a Ranger uniform.
Last night's game, Danny Salazar was cruising along, had an out in the 5th inning, then a walk and a hit batter preceded the 3-run homer by Prince Fielder.
The hit and run is on, and Field pops it up. Shallow right center field. Bourne glaring up into the haze and makes the catch for out number 1. Well, Delino DeShields will be coming up next, but first of all, let's send it back to John Radigan for a Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you. Delino DeShields stepping in for the second time here this afternoon. Delino grounded out to second to start things. DeShields with the average at .275 as he faces Carrasco. He's going to bunt, and it's a little bit hard to third. An easy play for Chisenhall. Down to second goes Chirinos, but he's there with 2 outs now as DeShields got a little more of that ball than he wanted to. Wasn't able to deaden it. And he is out 5-3 on the putout.
Yeah, that was a combination of the third. Look where the third baseman is. He's way in. He anticipates the bunt, and the bunt was a little bit too hard. Resulted in a simple play for Chisenhall. If he bunted it the same way he bunted the ball the other day, where it just hit and stopped about halfway between where Chisenhall fielded that and home plate, probably would have been a different story.
And for you folks that were wondering about that, no sacrifice awarded by the official scorer. He figured with one out that was not an attempt to just give himself up to advance the runner.
I would agree with that.
Yep. Shin-Soo Choo at the plate takes ball one. Choo hit the ball sharply up the middle his first time, but that's right where Mike Aviles, the shortstop, is positioned in a similar fashion this time. Chirinos at second. Way inside. Shin-Soo hit by a pitch last night. He regularly gets plunked multiple times a month.
Boy, if he got too far off second, he would have picked that and thrown to second and got him.
Carrasco studying the signs. Now the right-hander is ready. And Choo shoots one down the left field line. It's slicing into the corner and going foul.
Just missed.
Not only did that ball carry, it stopped slicing as much. Choo stood there at home plate after he hit it. And then you realize, hey, that's not slicing. It may be a fair ball. About 6 feet foul. Shin-Soo, of course, 7 years here in a Cleveland uniform, knows this ballpark extremely well. The idiosyncrasies of it. 2-1 pitch. Carrasco gets a swing and a miss, and the count evens. Shin-Soo, a .231 average. He is scuffling a bit of late, too. He is hitless in his last 9 trips to the plate. Lines that one to left field, but that is right at Michael Brantley. No, the Rangers again get their leadoff man aboard, but strand him. Robinson Chirinos left on after 2.5, 2-0 Indians. Brought to you by the Ford Memorial Day EcoBoost sales event. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. Clouds thickening up ever so slightly overhead. A breezy, mostly sunny afternoon. Indians leading 2-0 as they come to bat in the bottom of the third. It'll be Carlos Santana, Michael Brantley, and David Murphy to face Colby Lewis. Colby spins Santana around for ball one. Santana, a ground ball to second, his first time up there. That ball is hammered but foul. It's in the third deck. Down the right side, it came into the suites. Santana with a .218 batting average. Switch hitter takes outside. 2 balls and a strike. Indians a couple of runs on 4 hits in the first 2 innings against Colby Lewis. Now 3-1. Santana leading off the third. Michael Brantley, the left fielder, waiting in the wings. Ball 4. Colby, in an effort to nail down that outside corner, missed a couple of times. Lead-off walk, the first free pass issued by Lewis this afternoon. And it'll bring up Brantley, who had a base hit to center in the first. No surprise that Carlos Santana would draw the first walk of the day. He's the American League leader with 36 of them now. And you go back over the last 5 seasons, he's had the most walks in all of baseball. A 1 on, nobody out. Brantley a .309 average. That big breaking ball, the big curveball drops in for strike 1. Brantley with the 4 home runs. Now 6 for 15 against Colby. Little number that stays in foul territory. No balls and 2 strikes. A little fun at the ballpark. The mustard guy. You need a napkin after you shake his hand. Colby nods in agreement, a check of Santana at first. And Brantley pops it out of play down the left side. Hamilton over to take a look, but it's back and out of play. Still 0-2. Colby, the last couple of times out, despite getting wins, hasn't been as sharp as he had been earlier. Last time out against the Yankees, gave up 5 runs in 6 2/3. Gave up 6 runs against the Indians when he faced them. The shot by Brantley, that's fair, and down into the right field corner. Chu over to play the carom. They're going to hold Santana at third as Chu gets the ball back in. But Brantley with the double, and the Indians have runners at second and third, and nobody out. David Murphy coming up.
Well, I mentioned Brantley had an off game last night. He had a chance to do damage in a very close game. Came up short. In fact, he went 0 for 5. He's 2 for 2 in this game. He lined the ball to left field his first time up, left center field. Gets a pitch up and in. And he rips this ball down the right field line. Good line drive hitter. Uses the whole field, has some power. Very seldom strikes out.
Brantley at second, Santana at third. David Murphy, a fly ball to left, back in the first inning. Rangers will play the infield back with nobody out. And Murphy lines one to left. That's a base hit. Santana scores. On to third is Brantley. David Murphy with the RBI base hit. It is 3-0 Cleveland. Murphy drives in his 11th run of the year. And Colby trying to reach into his bag of tricks and see if he can find something to work through this inning with. Got runners at the corners now. Still nobody out. Nick Swisher got the scoring started today. Last inning with a home run. For Swisher, his second of the year. Colby's first pitch. Popped up. Beltre battling the sun right at the railing. Can't reach in far enough. An auxiliary scoreboard right there. The little rotating boards. Advertising board. Close.
Fans don't have any idea that Adrian's there, but they really don't have to move if they don't want to. They can do whatever they want with a ball that's in the stands. Up to the players to navigate through them.
Adrian came away with a hot dog that he stuck in his back pocket. 0-1, the count to Swisher.
I think it was Pudge one day that went after a pop-up down the right field line. Bumped into someone with some popcorn, reached in, took a handful of it, and ate it right during the game. I think that was Pudge.
Brantley coming down the line for third. David Murphy at first. A ball and a strike to Nick Swisher. Now 1-2.
Now Swisher, the first time up, had a swing like that on a changeup, was behind in the count. Kobe tried to sneak a fastball up and in, and that was the ball that Swisher ended up hitting for a home run.
And I'm pretty sure Colby remembers that very vividly. It's a fastball away that time.
Yeah.
And,
got it where he wanted it.
still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swisher battling knee surgery from last year. It took him about a month into the season before he was ready to play. Had a little trouble getting his game back in gear. Average though 242 now. He's on the upswing with that. Colby, a long look in. Nice stop by Robinson Chirinos. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rangers still with the infield back. They will give up the run for a chance at a double play here. And Swisher instead couldn't decide whether he wanted to swing or not. And by the time he decided, it was too late.
Yep, Kobe stayed with the off-speed stuff. Swisher, at least at this point in the season, much more of a fastball hitter than off-speed hitter. Got the curveball way out of the strike zone. Wanted to hold up, but he went through the zone. That's a strikeout with a man on third. First and third, no out. Swisher upset that he didn't get the run in.
A second strikeout for Colby Lewis. Now a ground ball gets you out of the inning. Lonnie Chisenhall hit a soft single to right field his first time up there.
He played on the same team with Nick's father, Steve, for the Cardinals one year, part of a season. Steve was a catcher. I remember spring training. He used to play Larry Gatlin all spring. And my locker was right next to him. I can still hear the all the gold. He played that all day long, boy. Need to ask Nick if he's still a Larry Gatlin fan.
First pitch to Chisenhall is outside for ball 1. Chisenhall against the Rangers has been a real thorn in their side, a .311 average. 22 games, he has hit 6 home runs. Driven in almost a run per game. Fouls that back and out of play, and Colby has the count even now at 1-1. Breeze continuing to drift out towards center field. Warm, muggy afternoon here in Cleveland. And that breaking ball in on the fists of Chisenhall. He fouled it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Michael Brantley after a double and a base hit by David Murphy over at third. David Murphy still over at first. Murphy with the RBI in this inning.
calling card. In case you missed it earlier, the Rangers made a roster move today. John Edwards, relief pitcher, recalled from Round Rock. Jake Smolinski was optioned to AAA. Rangers felt the need to have that extra reliever in the bullpen.
Yeah, John's having a great year in AAA.
Chisenhall bangs one in toward the corner in right field. Brantley scores. David Murphy being waved around third. The relay throw in from field is not in time. It's a 2-run double by Chisenhall, and that gives the Indians a 5-0 lead.
Chisenhall had been struggling. His average was down to just a little bit over 200. He's had a good day so far today. He's got a base hit, now a double. Double brings in a couple of runs. It's an off-speed pitch that he was able to wait on. Stroke down the right field line. Murphy will score all the way from first base on the play. Ball gets kind of caught down there in the corner. Didn't get the relay in time to stop him from scoring.
So Chisenhall now with 18 RBI. Mike Maddox out there to stem the tide a little bit, give Colby a chance to catch his breath. The Indians now 5 runs on 7 hits through 2 1/3 innings today off of Colby Lewis. Mike Aviles, who reached on a fielder's choice in the second, will step in. Aviles average now at .306. He's got Chisenhall at second. Colby drops that breaking ball on the outside corner for strike one. Infield, shading Aviles around to the left by a couple of steps. To center field, Delino to Shields. Out number 2, and Michael Bourne coming up. Folks, on Friday, the Rangers play the second of the 4-game set against the Boston Red Sox. And fans will be treated to a post-game fireworks show set to music that'll kick off the start of summer. Head to TexasRangers.com/tickets to pick up your seats. We'll see you at the ballpark this weekend. Well, 2 outs. Chisenhall still at second. Michael Bourne had an RBI single in the second inning. Colby drops in the off-speed pitch. It's 0-1. Bourne now with 12 runs driven in this year. Colby just missed the low outside corner. 241 the average for the fleet-footed veteran center fielder. Didn't really want to do it. That breaking ball, and he recognized it too late. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chirinos flashing out the series of signs. Colby Lewis ready. Base hit to right. And a pitch up again, and Bourne singles to right. The throw is too late. In to score is Chisenhall. Michael Bourne with his second run driven in today, and the Indians lead at 6-0.
Bourne's going to get a pitch that stays up. Looks like a curveball that catches the middle of the plate. Threw him a curveball in this at bat that was down and in that he missed and looked bad on it. But that one stays right in the zone where Colby wanted to avoid. Bourne is able to hit it hard into right field. Some hard hit balls this inning.
Well, a 6-run bulge for the Cleveland Indians. And, Roberto Perez takes outside for ball 1. Perez caught looking in the third strike in the second inning. Average at 181, but it's been glimpses of power. 4 home runs and 10 driven in. Off the end of the bat foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Colby, and for the third straight outing, having difficulty putting hitters away. He's been able to get ahead most of the time, but just hasn't been able to make the pitch to dispose of them. Swinging strike 2. Colby, 23 hits in the last 14 innings. The last 3 times out. There goes Bourne. The pitch is outside. The throw is late. And Michael Bourne with a stolen base.
The Bourne's percentage is not what it used to be. He still has good speed, just not quite the same threat that he was in his heyday of stealing bases.
Pretty good jump. Colby Lewis. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Well hit to left field. Hamilton is watching this one get up against the wall. It is off the wall. In to score is Bourne, hanging on with a long single. Roberto Perez, but he has the RBI, and the Indians have a 7-0 lead.
One of those games where, because of how the games have been played in this road trip, the bullpen has been used a lot. Starters, as a rule on the road trip, have not gone deep into the games. Games have been close, so the late inning guys have pitched a lot. And this is the kind of game where Jeff Bannister is going to probably ask Colby to go as long as he can to save the bullpen some innings. John Edwards is scheduled to be here sometime during the game. Anthony Bass is well rested, getting warmed up right now. He'd be the long man. It's been a struggle for Colby here in the third with his command.
2 outs. Asa Kipnis, the 9th Indian to come to the plate in this inning. Slices that one out of play down the left side. And the count is 1-1. The Indians 5 runs on 5 hits in this inning. Also been a walk mixed in there. Roberto Perez at first base. Colby Lewis set. 2-1.
.35th pitch coming up for Colby this inning.
Half the total of the pitches he's had have been in this frame. That's shot down the left field line, slicing a fair ball into the corner. Hamilton plays the carom. Stopping at third is Perez. An opposite field double for Kipnis. And the Indian onslaught continues. Chirinos out to talk to Colby.
Fastball away. He did what a good hitter would do with that pitch, and that's go the other way with it. Kipnis having a great month of May. First hit of this game is average right at .335.
So for the second time this inning, Carlos Santana comes to the plate. He began things by drawing a leadoff walk. Considering everything else has happened, I'm not even going to go there about the leadoff walk deal. There's been too much other stuff going wrong this inning to focus on that. But let's just suffice it to say that's not a good idea. Pitch is low, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Seven runs on 10 hits for the Indians. Second and third with 2 outs. Fly ball well hit to center field. To Shields, retreating, going back. That ball's gone. Dead center field for Santana. A 3-run blast. The Indians have put 10 on the board and lead it 10-0.
Santana's hit a couple of long home runs in this series. Hit one 450 feet into the concourse in right field. And this one he launches to the deepest part of the ballpark, a little bit to the left of the 400-foot sign. Probably went about 415, 420 feet.
Oh, he got full extension on that pitch out away from him and drove it right on out of here. Well, Colby, afternoon is finished. 10 runs on 11 hits against Colby Lewis here this afternoon, his shortest outing of the year. And Anthony Bass making his way in from the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Diamondbacks take on the Brewers. That's a 3 o'clock game. Then at 6, it's Baseball Night in America on Fox. Red Sox battle the Rangers. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Well, Anthony Bass has replaced Colby Lewis. Colby, his shortest outing of the year, and Anthony Bass into the ballgame, his 15th appearance of 2015. Dealing to Michael Brantley. And it's ball 1. Last time we saw Anthony Bass was Saturday in New York. Finished up that 15-4 Ranger victory. Score kind of turned around here today as Brantley chops one foul. The Indians have put 10 runs on the board in the first 3 innings. 8 in this frame. Colby, 2 2/3 innings of work, 11 hits, 10 runs. They were all earned. A walk and 2 strikeouts. Two balls and a strike. Brantley, perfect day. He is 2 for 2, a single and a double. He has scored once. He's the 11th man to come to the plate in this inning. And Bass misses low. 3 balls and a strike. Anthony to the wind and misses outside. Ball 4 puts Brantley aboard and will bring up David Murphy.
Yeah, and what Jeff Bannister's hoping that Anthony can do this afternoon is give him some innings. Every extra inning is one inning that the rest of the bullpen doesn't have to throw in a game like this. And the fewer pitches Anthony throws, obviously, the longer he'll be able to pitch.
David Murphy 1 for 2 and an RBI single to left, his first time up in this inning. Yeah, Bass, the only reliever down there that had not worked in this series. First 2 games had everybody else in the bullpen working, and Anthony now has made it 7 of them that have come out of the pen against the Tribe. And as Tom told you, John Edwards going to join the ball club today. He was not here right at the start of the game, but John Blake, the Rangers executive vice president of public relations, said he will be at some point during the game. Whether he's here yet or not, we don't know.
Yeah, generally the last day of a road trip, a player joining the team would just wait until the team got back home. But because of the way the bullpen's been used, Rangers didn't have that luxury. They want John to be here this afternoon in case they need him.
Mm-hmm.
They're hoping they might need him in a close game that, possibly it goes extra innings. Possibly you need someone late in the game. Sean's pitched 3 straight days.
Murphy shoots that foul right over the Indians' dugout. Still 2-2. Yeah, they were not envisioning having to use it when you're down by 10.
Nope. But I've never met a player yet that would gripe about having to come to the city of the last day of a road trip when he's coming from the minor leagues.
And Murphy down on strikes.
That was a good pitch.
Well, Bass comes in and gets the final out of the inning, but the Indians put up an 8 spot. A snowman on the board will go to the 4th inning. It's now the Indians 10 and the Rangers nothing. World Cup begins as Alex Morgan leads the U.S. women's national team against the best teams in the world in search of their 3rd World Cup title. The only place you can see the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup is on Fox and Fox Sports 1 beginning in just 10 days. Well, Rangers have some work to do now if they are to continue their winning streak. They're down 10-0 as they come to bat here in the 4th inning. Prince Fielder starting things off. Carlos Carrasco the beneficiary of a 10 spot. Prince shooting one the other way. Third baseman Chisenhall, one bounce throw, and fielder able to beat that out easily.
Prince is getting his hits every way you can imagine, except he hasn't bunted for a hit yet. That I'm not anticipating. We've seen a lot of ground balls to the left side turn into hits. Only one fielder there. Not much they can do to stop that. Prince had a big hit in the first game of this series, a ground ball through the hole at shortstop into the shift.
Well, fielder with his first hit of the afternoon. That's the second Ranger hit. The man who has the first one is standing at home plate. Adrian Beltre shot a double into the right field corner as he led off the second inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Adrian now, the average up to 266. That's as high as it's been all year long. 2-0. Beltre, since the start of 2012, is a .385 hitter against these Cleveland Indians. Pitch foul back, 2-1. Carrasco okays the sign. The right-hander sets. And Beltre, another pop foul that will reach the seats. Adrian, one of 3 Rangers that's started every ball game this year. He and Elvis have been fixtures on the left side of the infield. Elvis, the only one that started all 47 in the same spot at shortstop. Beltre started 1 at DH, and then Prince Fielder has started all of them, mostly at DH. Prince on with the leadoff infield single. 2-2 pitch. Skied to center. Michael Bourne camps under it. That is out number 1. Fielder staying at first. Now Josh Hamilton. Beltre 1 out of 2. Hamilton stepping in and hit the ball sharply his last time. Matter of fact, the last couple times up, going back to last night, he's hit the ball hard. Drove it deep to left field with Michael Brantley catching up with it right at the wall his first time today. Last night he scalded a line drive into the glove of Carlos Santana at first. 1 ball, no strikes. Carrasco back to him. 2-0. Hamilton ended up with a 12-game rehab assignment, split between AA Frisco and AAA Round Rock. Again, going to left field. This one not carrying quite as far. Brantley just stepping onto the track makes the catch.
Well, 3 out of Josh's last 4 at bats, he's hit a ball somewhat similar to that. Fly balls to left field. Solid, but really didn't drive him the way he can.
No, 2 out, and Mitch Moreland will come up. Mitch 0 for 1 today, grounded out to second base. His first time up there. In fact, that was the one time the Rangers had an opportunity to score and just didn't get it done. Beltre led off that second inning with a double. Mitch Moreland was up with a 2-strike count, and Beltre at third and 1 out, and tapped out to Kipnis, the second baseman, and Elvis struck out to end the threat. And since then, it's been all Indians. Makes a difference too. You know, we talk about the momentum a an offense gets from the other team not scoring, it gives the pitcher momentum too. You get on a pretty good mental roll, knowing that, or feeling that whatever you're doing is going to turn out right. And he gets Moreland on a fly ball to left. So the leadoff single, left stranded for the Rangers. Fielder left hanging at first. 3.5 in the books, 10-0 Indians. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among midsize cars. There's a guy that's ready to play some ball. Got his glove with him and his hat. He's just looking for somebody to pick him so he can get going. Where am I playing? Anthony Bass back to the hill. He'll face Nick Swisher to start off the bottom of the fourth. Swisher 1 for 2 with a home run and a strikeout. Bass came on to get the final out of the third inning. A good change up there. And Swisher coming unglued trying to swing at that. Swisher a .239 average. Chops one out to Tommy Field at second. One gone. Well, with Lonnie Chisenhall coming up, let's take a look at our T-Mobile Game Changer. Talking about Lonnie Chisenhall, the last 13 games against the Rangers, a .408 average. 5 home runs, 19 driven in those 13 games. He's gone 20 for 49. 2 for 2 today with the 2 RBI and a double. Bass hits the inside corner for strike one.
Yeah, yesterday he was at a 1 for 23 streak.
There's a drive to right field. The ballpark will not hold that. And Chisenhall has done it again.
He was 1 for 23 a while ago, but not now. 3 for 3 today.
Single, double, now home run. It's 11-0 Tribe.
Boy, he put a quick swing on that ball. Short, quick stroke. Whatever was ailing him when he was in that bad streak seems to have disappeared, because today he's swinging the bat very well. Trying to throw a fastball down and in, and again, that's been kind of the theme over this road trip for both teams. When you've seen the catcher sign where he wants the ball and the ball has missed toward the middle of the plate, more often than not on this road trip, it's been hit hard. I guess not just this road trip, that's just kind of the name of the game between the pitcher and the batter. throw it where you want to and have pretty good success. Miss in the middle of the plate, you're going to get hurt. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, sometimes a little less than what we've seen on the road trip.
Yeah, sometimes they get popped up.
Yeah, every once in a while anyway.
Not quite as often are they being popped up on this trip.
Mike Aviles, swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Yeah, and it's one of those deals where you've gotten a couple of hot hitting teams together. No matter who the Rangers were playing, after they got through with Boston, the Yankees were swinging the bats well, and Cleveland had been swinging the bats well, and the Rangers obviously are very, very hot. So pitchers didn't stand much of a chance when they made a mistake in the middle of the plate. Aviles today 0 for 2. Just reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run. That was back in the second. Last inning, he flied to center. Slices one down the right field line. That's going to peel off into the crowd. For the Indians with 3 home runs today. 2 of them have been solo blasts. 44 home runs for the year. Hard hit, but right there's Beltre. Adrian went into a little jump and almost overjumped it. Got that ball right in his face.
Well, he wanted to get the jump started just in case he had to jump. I don't think I've ever seen a guy jump and have the ball go underneath his glove, so at least he wasn't in position to have that happen.
Yeah. Now, Michael Bourne.
Seen guys dive for balls in the outfield, though, and have their glove down and have the ball go over it. Not quite as low as they thought it was going to be.
Seen infielders dive for balls and have them go between the ball and their body.
Yeah. Have too much range.
Yeah. Bourne, a perfect afternoon. 2 for 2 with a pair of run-scoring singles. His average up to 246 now. He drives that to right. Chu is going to back up and play it on a long hop. Well, Bourne, a 3 for 3 afternoon. He is aboard with 2 outs for Roberto Perez.
Bourne's 3 for 3. 2 of his singles knocked in runs. Chisenhall has 3 hits. He's knocked in 3. Bottom of the order, doing a pretty good job.
Perez, RBI base hit in the 3rd inning, 1 out of 2. He also scored in that frame. Nothing in 1. Indians now with 13 hits through the first 3 2/3 innings today. Perez with the average at 190. And the third baseline, a fair ball, Beltre across the diamond, and that will do it. The Indians get 2 more hits, they score a run. Solo home run by Chisenhall. We'll go to the 5th inning. It's now Cleveland 11 and Texas nothing.
Indians in the finale of this 3-game series by a score of 11-0. Our 9-game road trip comes to an end today. Hopefully 7-2 will do, and they can carry some positive momentum into the homestand. Pretty much wraps up my ballpark tour here in Cleveland. And behind me, you guys, is the Quicken Loans Arena, where the Cleveland Cavaliers wrapped up the Eastern Conference Championship last night. They're headed to the NBA Finals. So a good couple of days here in the Cleveland sports scene. It's time for us to leave and start our own good vibes at home, huh?
That sounds good, Em. Appreciate it. Thank you. Elvis Andrus leading things off for the Rangers here in the 5th inning, bottom third of the Ranger order. Elvis, a strikeout. He is only at bat this afternoon. Carrasco has allowed just the 2 base hits with 1 walk and only 2 strikeouts. Right-hander back to the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. Carrasco had been a little on the low side as far as runs scored in his support. Can't complain about what he's gotten today. 11 runs in 4 innings. Two balls and 2 strikes. We'll try it again. Carrasco at home this year, not quite as effective as he has been on the road. His ERA above 5 coming into play. He's gotten it going now. He gets Elvis looking at that breaking ball that started inside, caught the corner. That's out number 1.
That's a tough one. If the hitter feels like it's coming right at him for a second, and then it sharply comes back, ends up being a pitch right down the middle of the plate. But you can see Elvis lifting his hands up. He thought that ball was going to be inside. That's how sharply it broke and fooled him.
A 3rd strikeout for Carrasco, and now Robinson Chirinos steps in. Chirinos drew the only walk that Carrasco has issued. That was a leadoff pass in the 3rd inning. Robinson, his only appearance in this series here this afternoon. And Carlos Corcoran started the first 2 games. Chirinos, a .231 average on this road trip. Down on the count now, 0-2. And you go back a little further, last 6 ball games for Robinson. He's gone 6 for 20. Another foul ball. This Chirinos' 29th start behind the plate. And the ball club in the first 28, 14-14. Both he and Carlos Corcoran, 500 records with them calling the signals. One hopper right into the Indians dugout, scattered a few people down there. Still no balls and 2 strikes. There's a drive, well hit to left field. Brantley will watch this one go goodbye.
How about that catch in the outfield? The guy's got food in one hand and caught it with his left hand. A pretty nice play. Sit down to have your hot dog. Next thing you know, you got a baseball in the other hand. That was a long one by Robinson. There was no doubt about that one. That would have threatened the concourse in right field.
Chirinos with his 5th home run of the year. No doubter. 419 feet is the guesstimate. The flight of that ball, about halfway up the bleachers in left field. So it's an 11-1 ball game. Rangers still have not been shut out now in 44 straight ball games. Go back to the first series against the Oakland A's, and they're shut out twice. They haven't been shut out since.
Watch the guy with the food in one hand, braces himself, and snares it cleanly.
He did not drop anything. Not even an onion off that hot dog.
He was going to drop the ball before he dropped that hot dog.
Tommy Field fouls back the next pitch. It's 0-2.
Someone got booed.
Tough crowd.
Well, after that last catch, I guess anything's going to be a letdown.
Tommy Field, a fly ball to center. His first time to the plate. Blowing outside. A ball and 2 strikes. The Rangers now have hit at least 1 home run in 12 straight ball games. 21 total home runs in that streak. Outside. That's the longest they've had since they had 12 in a row back in 2013. Robinson Chirinos, 5 round trippers now this year. And Field on strikes. Carrasco brings up number 4, and there are 2 outs.
Now stepping to the plate for Texas, the center fielder, Delino Bashir.
Carrasco's got good movement on his fastball. His fastball mid-90s. Pretty good pitches to go along with it, too. Not a huge strikeout day for him, although he does have 2 here in the 5th inning.
Delino Shields chopping one up the middle. Quick release by Aviles, and he gets Delino by a couple of steps. Side retirement, Robinson Chirinos gets the Rangers on the board with a solo home run. We played half the ball game. It's the Indians 11, the Rangers 1. Majestic, and fans who wear a Rangers jersey to the game that night will get to participate in a pregame parade and receive a voucher for a free ticket to select games in August and September. Plus, the Texas Rangers retail locations are offering 15% off all Rangers jerseys until the 29th. Get your tickets for May 29th at TexasRangers.com. Jason Kipnis starting off against Anthony Bass. Bass misses outside for ball 2. Kipnis with a 15-game hitting streak now after that double in the 3rd inning. Adam Rosales has entered the ball game, taking over at second base with Tommy Field moving over to shortstop. Elvis gets the rest of the afternoon off. There's Tommy.
Elvis is not going to get a hit here in Cleveland today.
First time in his career.
That's unusual.
2-1 pitch. Center field, that sends DeShields back. Still going back. At the wall, it's off the wall. Kipnis going for 3, will reach third standing. A leadoff triple. The ball really carrying. You get it up, and that wind is helping everything from center on around to the right field foul line.
Yeah, the wind is blown in pretty much the same direction all 3 games, and pretty hard, too. There's been some hard hit balls that haven't needed the wind, but they've gone farther because of it, and there's been several that wouldn't have gone out of the ballpark without the wind. The one Perez hit the other day to right field, certainly that way.
So Kipnis now with a double and a triple in 4 trips. He is at third. Carlos Santana taking a called strike 1. Santana, a 3-run bomb his last time up. That was to dead center field. He was the last hitter that Colby Lewis faced. Santana's also walked and scored in this game. 1-1. Take a look at that home run that came back in the 3rd inning. Ball was well hit, but probably doesn't get out of here without the wind.
I don't think so.
2 balls and a strike. And the problem you have in this ballpark from a pitching standpoint, predominantly left-handed lineup, and if you stay away, they're good enough hitters to wear you out going to left field. There's a pop fly into shallow left. Hamilton coming on, and he and Field collide, but Hamilton had just caught the ball. Apparently Josh not yelling either loudly enough for Tommy to hear him, or didn't yell at all.
Yeah, as we've said before, it's the infielder's job to keep going until he hears the outfielder. So if Josh was yelling, Tommy didn't hear him, and that's some athleticism to catch the ball and avoid contact by both of them. That could have been much worse than that. Could have been a hard collision and a drop ball. Somehow Josh caught it, and somehow Tommy avoided him.
Well, 1 gone, and Michael Brantley now. But anyway, talking about this ballpark, you can't stay away to guys like Kipnis and Santana and Brantley and Murphy all the time, or Chisenhall. They'll worry you out going to left field. So you're kind of put in a bad spot with that wind blowing out to right center to the power alley that way. Brantley hasn't needed any help today. He's 2 for 2 with a single, double, and a walk. And that ball just fouled down the first base side. He has hit the ball on the button a couple times. Brantley with the average back up to .313. Jason Kipnis after the triple at third, 1 out later. Off speed, that is over for a strike, and it's 1-2. Bass sets. Fly ball to left. That's going to be deep enough to score Kipnis. Hamilton, the basket catch. Kipnis tags and scores. Sacrifice fly by Michael Brantley, and that makes it a 12-1 Cleveland lead. 2 outs, bases empty. David Murphy coming up. Let's send it back to John Radigan with the Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you. Well, the Indians now have scored in 4 straight innings, put 12 on the board, an 8 spot in the third. David Murphy is 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a run scored. That came in the third. A ball and a strike to him. David, a .326 average. Tommy Field, back of the bag at second, throws on to first, and that'll do it. Indians tack on a run on a hit, nobody left after 5 complete. It's Cleveland 12, Texas 1. It's $800 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during the inning, Marvin Brook from Allen, Texas will win $800. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Marvin Brook will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Shin-Soo Choo to begin things against Carlos Carrasco here in the 6th inning. It'll be Choo, Fielder, and Beltre. Choo 0 for 2, ground out, and a line drive to left field. Takes outside for ball 1. Shin-Soo .230 with the batting average as Carrasco sets. And there's a base hit to left. Got it through the hole created by the shift right at the shortstop spot. And Choo with a leadoff single, the 5th base hit of the afternoon for the Rangers.
Before that hit, Shin-Soo had been 7 for 40, but he had probably hit 4 or 5, maybe 6 balls right on the button, either line drives to the outfield. In fact, he has one today, line drive in the 3rd inning to the left fielder. So even though over that short period of time he was hitting below 200, he's making some better contact than the batting average might have indicated over that period of time.
Chris Fielder takes ball 1 outside.
In fact, today, the first time up, he hit a very hard ground ball right straight up the middle. Aviles was standing right behind second base and fielded it. So all 3 times today he's hit the ball hard.
That's off the end of the bat, and Squibber down the line is foul. Brent's hit one last time. He kind of shanked one. Got down to third base and beat it out for an infield single.
Almost had another one right there.
That's the kind of ball. There's probably a pretty good chunk out of the cowhide. One ball and 1 strike. Fielder 1 for 2. It's out of play to the left. Prince finishing off Some kind of road trip. He's the first player in Rangers franchise history with multiple hits and multiple RBI in 5 straight games. Matter of fact, only 2 other players since 1951 in the major leagues have done that. Benji Molina did it with the Giants back in 2008. Paul Molitor did it with Milwaukee. There's a double play ground ball to Kipnis. They turn it over. 4-6-3, and that erases Chu. There are now 2 outs.
For Texas, the hitter, number 29, Adrian Beltre.
No problem getting that throw off. No, the base is empty. Adrian Beltre now for his 3rd at bat of the afternoon. Beltre 1 for 2. Adrian at 265 as he faces Carrasco. No balls and a strike. Right-hander back to the plate. 0-2. Beltre shoots one to center. That is right at Michael Bourne. Well, that was a bullet. Then it turns into an over. Rangers gone in the 6th. No runs a hit. Nobody left. After 5.5. 12-1 Indians. Fans at Globe Life Park will get a Rangers beach towel courtesy of Coca-Cola. Come on out and catch the first game of the 3-game series against the White Sox and pick up this summer giveaway. Call 972-RANGERS or you can visit TexasRangers.com for tickets. Now, several changes for the Rangers as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Nick Swisher starting things off and Anthony Bass back to the hill. Swisher 1 for 3 today. He takes strike 1. Defensively for the Rangers, Adam Rosales moves from 2nd over to 3rd. And a couple of other changes we'll get to in just a moment. One pitch. 1-2. Delino DeShields moves into second base from center field. Delino making his first appearance at second base in his big league career. Leonys Martin enters the game and takes over in center field. Two balls and two strikes. And if you want to straighten your scorebook out, you're keeping score with us. That means that Leonys Martin is hitting an Adrian Beltre spot in the lineup. Swisher pops it foul behind home plate, back into the seats. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Even when they're not in the game, Adrian and Elvis talking baseball over there, trying to tell each other how it's done. Who do you think wins that conversation?
Well, if I'm Elvis, I'm listening to everything Adrian says. I know that. I'm deferring to him.
You got that right. And Prince is.
And if Prince is talking,
yeah,
I'm deferring to him right now.
Yeah.
I don't care who the hitter is in the league. I would be deferring to Prince.
Another foul ball, still 3-2. Yeah, I just stand next to him, see if some of that will rub off on you. Jayce Tingler in charge of the positioning for the Rangers. Bass getting set for another 3-2 pitch. In the hole and through for a base hit. Swisher gets his second knock of the afternoon. The leadoff single here in the 6th inning.
The batter for the Indians, number 8, Lonnie Chisenhall.
Next will be Lonnie Chisenhall. And Chisenhall has 3 legs of the cycle already in his back pocket. He is singled, doubled, and homered. He is a triple away from putting his name in the record books. 3 RBI this afternoon, 19 for the season. It is 4th home run in the 4th inning. Lines one to left. Hamilton in a hurry and makes a sliding catch.
We saw that one the first game, Buzz, where he took a little bit of a circuitous route to the ball and wasn't able to come up with it. That was a very similar ball, and he went right to it. Caught it with a slide. Nice play. That was a hard hit ball, sinking. Took it right off the ground. Nice play by Josh. Good concentration.
Thought when that ball left the bat, we might have had a shot at the triple.
Yeah.
Nice play by Josh, though, and that is out number 1. Brings up Mike Aviles.
Yeah, the way Josh moves around at 240 pounds, you would think he's maybe 190 pounds.
Yeah, that's something that has not changed about him.
No.
In all the years that we've seen him in Texas.
Last year with the Angels, he was about 30 to 35 pounds lighter than he is right now. That's one of the reasons he feels good about coming to the Rangers. He knows he's healthy. He's had the surgery on his shoulder. That feels fine. He's happy to be here, but he's also put on the 30 to 35 pounds. He feels stronger. Feels stronger, gives you more confidence.
Let's go down and check in with Emily Jones, Em.
And guys, he's also been very vocal in talking about him playing smarter, not diving headfirst into first. Trying, although he didn't do a very good job of that today, nonetheless, but really trying to take better care of his body to see how long he can these last few years of playing.
Well, you know, when you dive into first base, you don't get there quicker, and so it is. I guess you could call it a little bit reckless, a little bit careless. It's instinctive. You can't fault someone for doing it. But on the play that he made where he ran into the wall, that he either goes into the wall or he doesn't catch it early in the game. That's, you know, that's an aggressive play, not a careless play or play you have to make if you want to get the out.
Now, Delano Shields, his first opportunity at the big league second baseman. He makes the play, throws out Bourne, and that'll do it for the Indians. After 6, the Tribe by 11. switcher. A solo home run started things for the Tribe, and against Colby Lewis, Carlos Santana ended things. A 3-run blast at dead center. That was it for Colby Lewis, and gave up 10 runs. Lonnie Chisenhall back to his old work against the Rangers. A home run. He has got 3 hits today, and the Indians piling on. It is 12-1 Cleveland as we head to the 7th inning. Josh Hamilton coming up for his 3rd at bat of the afternoon. Josh 0 for 2, a couple of pretty well hit balls to left field. Going the other way, there's his first base hit. Josh just reaching out and stroking that one. He's going for 2. The throw by Aviles, and Hamilton is out from here to Akron.
Well, Josh is glad to get that base hit. He was so happy he was not going to settle for a single. He wanted to get a double. High pitch out over the plate, just slaps it by the third baseman. Thought he might sneak into second. Unfortunately, the left fielder was ready for it.
No, 1 out, and Mitch Moreland takes the pitch for strike 1. Now Hamilton, with his first hit, now 1 for 10 since joining the Rangers. Moreland 0 for 2, a ground out and a fly ball. 1-1 the count. A couple of defensive changes. You saw Mike Aviles, the new left fielder. He'd moved from shortstop out there. Off speed, catches the outside corner. 1-2. There's Aviles. Started the game at shortstop, moved to left field, coming in to play shortstop, Jose Ramirez. Carrasco back to the plate. Mitch with a batting average at an even 300 as he faces Carrasco. Mitch with that career best 10-game hitting streak on the line here today. Two and two the count. Coming into play today, Mitch, if you go back before the surgery put him on the disabled list, back to the 11th of April, he had gone 333 clip and over 25 ball games. Gets that one off the fist and fouls it just out of the reach of Lonnie Chisenhall. Moreland settling back in. A 2-2 count. Base is empty, 1 away in the top of the 7th inning. To left field, right at Aviles, who makes the grab. 2 gone. And Adam Rosales will come up for his first at bat.
Now hitting for Texas, number 9, Adam Rosales.
Rosales stepping in with a .211 average, 3 home runs, 7 runs driven in. Adam 5 out of 12 on this trip. He is a home run and 3 RBI in the first 8 ball games. Last 3 games, he's gone 4 for 8 with those 3 runs driven in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rosales has always fared well against the Cleveland Indians. He's a career .340 hitter. Two and one. Phil Klein starting to loosen a bit in the Ranger bullpen. Saw Phil here in the opener on Monday night, or Monday afternoon. 2-2 to Rosales. Carrasco about ready to unload his 94th pitch of the afternoon. 3-2. Payoff pitch on the way. Got him swinging. Carrasco gets his 5th strikeout of the afternoon. Rangers gone. No runs a hit, nobody left. We'll take the stretch in Cleveland. Indians leading 12-1. Sports 1 for the first time. Greatest golfers in the world converge on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names into the history books. Our exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins June 18th on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Anthony Bass back to work here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Roberto Perez, 1 for 3, fouls off that first pitch. Perez, an RBI single in the 3rd. Also scored a run in that frame. That was the inning that opened everything up for the Cleveland Indians here this afternoon. They lead 12-1 now. Perez, roller out to Delino DeShields. 1 gone. Now, before we go back to Jason Kipnis for the 5th time this afternoon, let's take time to send it back to John Radigan for a Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you. First ball swinging, Jason Kipnis rips one into left for a base hit. So Kipnis now a single, double, and triple. He is a home run shy of the cycle. 1 on, 1 out for Carlos Santana. Yeah, we told you about the roster move the Rangers made today. John Edwards recalled from AAA, and he has joined the club out there in the bullpen. Can't find anybody to catch him, so he's playing catch with himself off the wall. Jake Smolinski, the option back down to AAA. Well, the Rangers with an 8-man bullpen now. And the way the bullpen has been used so heavily, that's probably a necessary move. First pitch to Carlos Santana is off the outer edge for ball 1.
60 pitches for Anthony. Came in the 3rd inning to get an out. He's pitching into his 4th inning here. Rangers have needed some extra innings from guys that might not normally pitch that long. Although Anthony has been a starting pitcher, and he's kind of the long man, so that's not unusual for him. Alex Claudio the other day to pitch 3 1/3 innings, 3 2/3, whatever it was. That is a long outing for him. He said he felt a little bit tired, a little bit sore after that game, having not been accustomed to pitching that long. Jeff Bannister said he was going to give him a couple of days before he would pitch again.
Some guys pitching in roles which they're not accustomed to lately. That's by design.
Well, it's been working. Bullpen's been working fine.
3-1 the count to Santana.
And Jeff's done an excellent job of maneuvering the bullpen through this road trip.
Santana, a 3-run home run in the 3rd. He is 1 for 3 today. Takes ball 4 and draws his 2nd walk. No 2 aboard with 1 out. Mike Maddox now on his way to the mound. Make sure Anthony Bass is doing all right. Michael Brantley will be the hitter with 2 on and 1 out. Excuse me, Jose Ramirez, who had taken Brantley's place, and I had not written it down in my book. Thank you, Tom.
No problem. Now, Vilas looks like they're jack of all trades to play almost anywhere. He played all the infield positions. Now he's out in left field. Not sure if that's why Josh tried to stretch that ball into a double, because it was a Vilas out in left field. But Ramirez is back in the game as a shortstop.
Jose Ramirez, a switch hitter, batting from the left side against Anthony Bass. 183 his average. And he takes strike 1. Ramirez, a home run, 8 driven in. Came up last year for the 2nd time and to stay about midway through the year. Chirinos knocking that pitch down. 1-1 the count. Giptis at second. Had an opposite field single. He was pushed along by the walk to Santana. 2-1 the count. Ramirez took an 0 for 2 in last night's ball game. Drew a walk in 3 trips. Two and 2. The crowd just shy of 16,000 on hand here this afternoon. 15,957. Watching the Indians and the Rangers wrap up this 3-game series. Sunscreen in plentiful supply, hopefully. Anthony Bass ready for the 2-2 pitch. 3-2. Pulled to the Shields. You get 1 at second. That's all they will get. Delino having to range far to his left to pick that off. He got the middle runner. Well, that is out number 2. On to third goes Kipnis. And on the fielder's choice, Ramirez at first. David Murphy will come to the plate now.
Nice play by Delino, getting his first major league opportunity to play second base. Handled all his plays very well so far.
David Murphy, 1 hit in 4 trips. RBI single and a run scored in the 3rd inning. Changeup floats over the outer edge for strike one. David with that .323 average. Anthony Bass getting a new baseball with which to work. 1-1. Indians 12 runs on 16 hits today. Rangers a run on 5 hits. They have committed the only error of the ball game. Outside corner, 1-2. Bass back to the plate. That evens things up. Jason Kipnis over at third base. At first base, Jose Ramirez. David Murphy waiting with a 2-2 count on him. Try it one more time. Now, if this score holds up, Rangers and Indians would split the 6 games this year. Indians won 2 out of 3. Their trip to Arlington a couple weeks ago. Murphy had chopper wide of first. Moreland to Bass covering, and that will do it. So Bass keeps the Indians off the board. No runs a hit. 2 men are left. On the 8th here in Cleveland, it's the Indians 12, the Rangers 1. Finishing up this road trip and this series here this afternoon. Then it's back home, 4 with Boston beginning tomorrow night at Globe Life Park. And over the weekend, the day off on Monday, the 1st of June. And then the White Sox come in for 3 before the Rangers hit the road for Kansas City and Oakland. Progressive Rangers upcoming schedule keeps you up to date. Rangers come to bat here in the top of the 8th inning, trailing 12-1. It'll be Robinson, Chirinos, Tommy Field, and Delino DeShields.
Yeah, Terry Francona has gotten the start from Carlos Carrasco that he was looking for, too. He's used his bullpen a lot in this series. And he's looking for Carrasco to go as far as he can. And he's at 94 pitches starting the 8th inning. Probably going to get 8 innings out of his starter. Yesterday, his bullpen was such that he brought his closer in to get 2 outs in the 8th inning, down by a run.
Chirinos, a swing and a miss. It is 0-2.
Well, Carrasco's pitching an efficient game today.
Well, he had a complete game last time that he faced the Rangers. It was in a losing cause, an 8-inning complete game down in Arlington.
Yeah, that's the only complete game either staff has had this year.
0-2 to Chirinos. Robinson 1 for 1 today with that home run. He has accounted for the only Ranger run. Robinson has also walked this afternoon. So Chirinos with a batting average now at an even 200. The 1-2 pitch is on the way. Got him swinging. Carrasco with the off-speed delivery gets his 6th strikeout, and that's how the 8th begins. Well, the Rangers, Tommy Field will be next.
We've seen the 94 to 95 mile an hour fastball. The two-seamer with a good sinking action. He's got a hard slider. That was a curveball. He's got all the pitches. Pretty good command of them, too.
Tommy Field 0 for 2. Skied to center field. Last time up, he struck out.
You're looking at complete games in the American League. There's only one team that's had more than one complete game. That's Toronto. Probably R.A. Dickey, the knuckleball pitcher, with just a guess, but they've had 3. There's 5 teams without a complete game. The rest of them all have 1. That's a dramatic change in pitching over the last 20 or 30 years.
Sure is.
Probably go back to, I don't know, at least to Fergie Jenkins and that group of starting pitchers. Throughout baseball, there was probably 15 or 20 pitchers that had more complete games themselves than teams will have this year.
Yeah, you're right.
You talk to the pitchers from back then, and their goal wasn't to give 6 or 7 innings and give their team a chance to win. Their team was to win it themselves and pitch 9 innings. They didn't want to come out of the game. They expected to go 9 innings. Just not the way pitching is played anymore.
And Field, a swing and a miss. Strikeout will be completed at first on the throw, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts now for Carlos Carrasco. He has 7 for the game. And with 2 outs, Delino DeShields coming up.
Yeah, he only had 2 through 4 innings, but they're starting to pile up now. He had 58 coming into the game. He was 9th in the league. Was 9th in the league in strikeouts coming into the game. 58 and 49 innings. Talked about the 3 starters for Cleveland. Kluber, Carrasco, and Salazar being the top 3 in the league in strikeouts per 9 innings. All 3 of the top Cleveland starters. Trevor Bauer, their 4th starter, is not that far behind him. He has almost a strikeout per inning.
Delino, a swing and a miss. DeShields 0 for 3 and 3 ground balls today. One of those, a bunt attempt. Delino seeing his first action as a major league second baseman today. That was the position that he signed as. He's gone on strikes. Carrasco pulling the string, and all of a sudden he's got 4 straight strikeouts and 8 for the game. We finished 7.5. Remains the Indians 12. The Rangers 1. Texas as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Our AT&T Ubers look ahead to the series starting tomorrow night at Globe Life Park, 7 o'clock. His first pitch. Mike Napoli and the Red Sox come in for a 4-game series. They will be hosted by Mitch Moreland and the Texas Rangers. Napoli has turned things on since the Rangers saw him in Fenway 10 days ago. 5 home runs, 11 RBI in his last 8 games. Mitch Moreland, meanwhile, one of the hot Rangers in the middle of that order. 4 home runs and 9 RBI in his last 10 ball games. Now we head to the bottom of the 8th, and John Edwards just off the plane and into the ball game.
Happens so many times, boy, when a team adds a pitcher because they're a little bit short in the bullpen, invariably the day he gets there, he's in.
And dealing to Nick Swisher.
Wow, that was a 96 mile an hour. I don't know what it was.
Apparently he brought that with him in his luggage.
Hard cutter, nasty sinker. Had some great movement on it, whatever it was.
Swisher chopping the next pitch foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Swisher today 2 for 4. Edwards, the Keller product. Happy to be back with the Rangers, the second opportunity this year. Way inside. That sends Swisher sprawling.
One more power arm to add to the bullpen. It's looked like a cutter at 90 miles an hour. First 2 fastballs were 96. Hard slider, I guess, at 88 miles an hour.
2-2.
John was pitching great in AAA. Had 13 saves and 14 chances. Hadn't given up much at all down there.
1.15 ERA. 15 2/3 innings with 20 strikeouts at AAA. 17 relief appearances. 2-2. The count to Swisher. Just steadily staying right on Swisher's fists. And Fox tracker showing you the location. You could throw a fairly small basket over all those pitches.
Yeah, if you move the strike zone over about 1.5 foot, he'd have them all right in the middle of the strike zone.
That one hung out away from him. Swisher just able to pop it into foul territory for a foul ball.
Yeah, that was a slower pitch at 81 miles an hour. That was his curveball. Even though it was near the center of the plate, the change of speeds had Swisher reaching for it a little bit out in front of it.
Got him swinging. Pulling the string a little bit at the intermediate speed breaking ball. No, John Edwards getting the strikeout of Swisher. Lonnie Chisenhall coming up next. Folks, on June 17th and 18th, you can join the team for a Texas Rangers destination trip. That one's going to Dodger Stadium. Your package includes tickets to both games, first-class hotel accommodations, a meet and greet with a current player, and a whole lot more. Book your trip at texasrangers.com/destinations. Lonnie Chisenhall, single, double home run, and a line drive to left. 3 for 4. Currently hitting at .218. 1 ball, 1 strike. Facing the 6'5" John Edwards. John coming up through the Ranger system as a pitcher. He started professionally as a position player, hit for a few years, and decided, no, that's not going to work out quite so well. I think he had trouble hitting the good fastball, but he found out he could throw it.
Well, if he had trouble hitting other people's fastballs and breaking balls, he sure couldn't have hit his own because his were well above average. That's a good breaking ball. It's a little bit like Keone Keller's breaking ball. Same speed, same downward movement to it, straight over the top. Their stuff seems to be fairly similar. Same velocity.
1-2. Got him swinging.
Took a little more off that. That was more of a curveball than the hard breaking ball.
Back-to-back punch-outs. 2 gone.
Boy, for a guy with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, John's mixed in some pitches other than his fastball for a couple of strikeouts.
I don't recall seeing that breaking ball, that slow breaking ball, the first few times we've seen him.
Yeah, I can't really picture it either.
Michael Aviles now will come up. Aviles 0 for 4 today. Aviles reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the second inning. Other than that, he has lined out, flied out, and struck out. Didn't really want to do it. Went around anyway. John Edwards originally selected back in the 2006 draft by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 14th round. Little looper into right field. DeShields going out. He dives and can't come up with it. And Aviles has a little flare single with 2 outs here in the 8th inning.
Great try by Delino. Got there as quickly as he could. Dove right at the last second. Came up about a foot short. Nice try. Great effort. Like the all-out try for that one.
Now that is the 17th Cleveland hit this afternoon. First for Aviles, he's aboard. Michael Bourne will step in. 3 for 4, I should say. He has had quite an afternoon. Bourne now has raised his batting average up to .250. Taking a strike all the way. It's 0-1. Edwards back to the plate. The big overhand hook. 0-2. That's off the glove of Chirinos all the way to the backstop. So down to second goes Aviles.
That was a tough one to catch. 95 miles an hour. Robinson had to stand straight up to catch that. Couldn't quite get it.
Catch that, it pulls your arm out of the socket too and goes by you. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shallow left center field. Hamilton coming on. That will do it. So John Edwards a couple of strikeouts. The base hit by Aviles to no avail. The Indian Strander runner on to the ninth. 12-1 Cleveland. Showing you Carlos Carrasco. 8 innings of work today, 5 hits, just 1 run. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 66 strikeouts. That ties for 3rd in the American League. And he is finished for this afternoon with 8 quality innings of work against the Rangers, and he had a lot of run support. 12-1, the Tribe out in front of the Rangers. Rangers coming to bat here in the top of the 9th inning, and they will be facing a familiar man in North Texas and around the Major League, Scott Atchison. Atchison, the TCUX, on now to work in the 9th inning. They face Chu, Fielder, and Martin. Scott in his 19th appearance of the year for the Tribe. 4.91 ERA, but the league hitting just 246 against him. Jin-Soo Chu is 1 for 3 as he starts off the 9th inning. 0-1. Chu had a base hit to left field, leading off the 6th inning.
Well, Carlos Carrasco will have a decision in all 10 of his starts. It's 5-4 coming into the game. Has not had a no decision yet.
2-1. He's pitched deeply enough into the ball games to provide that kind of opportunity for him. There's a strike to Chu, and it's 2-2. Jin-Soo at 235 with the average. Now 3-2 count. Atchison, the 39-year-old who was born in Denton, lives in the Metroplex. Chu lifts one to left. That's going to fall for a base hit in front of Aviles. So Jin-Soo with his 2nd hit of the day, trying to climb out of that little offensive funk that he was in.
Now, he's got a few little bloopers like that coming. We talked about some of the hard hit balls he's had. He's had a couple of them today. Hard ground ball up the middle, line drive to left field over the road trip. Had a number of balls hit hard. So he doesn't have to worry about doesn't have to feel guilty about getting those little cheap hits. Not that I've ever heard of a hitter in history who ever felt guilty about getting one. I don't care who the hitter is. He said he has them coming.
You give a couple of them back. Said, no, I really didn't deserve that. I'll just donate it.
Every single hitter who ever lived thinks he hits more balls hard that are caught than softballs that fall in.
Fielder chopping one to the right side. Kipnis ranging far to his left. And Fielder thrown out for the first out. Chu to second base.
Well, it was hit in the direction that it looked like it might be a base hit, but the big hops that it took gave Kipnis a chance to show off his range, go to his left and make a nice play.
So 1 out. And now Scott Atchison will face Leonis Martin. Leonis getting his first at bat of the day. Came on defensively in the 6th inning. Leonis hitting at 210. 2 home runs, 9 driven in for Martin. Leonis got his first start in the leadoff spot last night. About 5 weeks. Took an 0 for 4 last evening. He did score a run. Was on with a walk. It's backing out of play. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Martin just 1 for his last 10 times to the plate. Chu at second. Atchison checks him. Still 1-2. Josh Hamilton waiting in the on-deck circle. And a chopper foul. Rangers coming back home to take on the Red Sox. Nick Martinez gets the start in tomorrow night's game. Giovanni Gallardo will work on Friday. Rangers undecided about the starter Saturday. Wandy Rodriguez on Sunday afternoon. Red Sox have not announced their rotation yet. Martin, a drive to deep right center field. It is going goodbye.
Man, that was almost up in Prince Fielder territory. That almost went in the Ranger bullpen. Leon is unloading on that one.
Martin with his third home run of the year, a titanic two-run blast, and it's a 12-3 Indian lead.
The batter for Texas, number 32, Josh.
Leonis got all of this one from Scott Atchison.
Yeah, Leonis knows that the playing time is tougher to get now the way that Delino has played with Josh Hamilton here. So he's going to try to leave a good impression with his one at bat today with that 400-foot blast.
Hamilton takes a breaking ball that bends in for a strike. 0-2. Josh had a base hit the other way his last time up. He has gone on strikes here, waving at another breaking ball from Atchison. That's out number 2. Leonis Martin, a long home run. Puts the Rangers on the board here in the 9th inning. But they're down to their last out now, and Mitch Moreland will come up with his 10-game hitting streak on the line. Moreland 0 for 3. Mitch is grounded out to second, and twice he has hit the ball the other way, skying out to left field. 0-1. Coming home to finish off the month of May, and it has been a good one. And Mitch pulls one to the hole, a base hit, and he extends his hitting streak with that single. It's 11 straight ball games and a new career high for Mitch Moreland.
Well, when you're the 5th hitter in the 9th inning, you're hoping that you get a chance to bat. You have to have some help with the guys hitting in front of you. Well, Mitch got a little help, got some base runners, and got a chance to extend that streak and salvage his day. Instead of 0 for 3, ends up 1 for 4. Unless this turns into a really long 9th inning, which would be nice.
If we get Mitch back up again, it's going to
get pretty interesting.
Yeah. Adam Rosales, strikeout in his only at bat here this afternoon. 0 for 1, hitting at 207. Atchison missing down and away. A ball and a strike. Now 1-2. Scott Atchison trying to close the door on the Rangers. The Indians leading 12-3 here in the 9th inning. Chopper slowly hit to third. Chisenhall on the mark with a throw, and that will do it. The Rangers have their 7-game winning streak come to a screeching halt here in Cleveland. Almost 16,000 on hand to see it, and Jeff Bannister's ball club drops their first game since the first game of the road trip. Well, they bookended the 9-game trip with losses on either end of 7 straight ball games. And they get those in the win, and so 12-3 the final. We'll come back to Progressive Field to wrap things up for you right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.